episode of Federico Talks Watches. Here I am with my partner John. How you doing, brother?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good, man. And actually, I wanted to have you on the show today because we're going to talk about watches from the 80s, the decade of excess. I mean, if you weren't killing hookers and doing rails, you were. I mean, I'm not from the 80s. I mean, kind of am.
You are. I'm not. Wow.
Yeah, I'm
pretty old.
Dude, screw you. I'm a child of the 90s.
You're vintage.
Well, that's another thing, guys. If you haven't seen John's vintage watch channel, go check it out. Link in the description below. Actually, you did a really good video about the article, A Blog to Watch, put up the other day.
Oh, don't get me started. It's a little heated. I don't want to get into it on this video. It'll ruin the vibe. This one's more fun.
And also, guys, quick little shout out, delraywatch.com. Got a bunch of new watches in today. We got a Reverso, a Ceramic Seamaster, Speedy Pro, and a couple of really cool Gerald Genta bi-retrograde watches, which retailed for 20 grand. And we're selling them basically store display models at under $4. So you're going to want to take a look at that.
You're giving them away.
Yeah, well, I don't say giving them away, but let's just say if you're budget conscious and you want a retrograde high complication type thing,
Buy retro.
You can't do much better. But yeah, guys, so watches from the 80s. Today we're going to talk about iconic watches from the 80s. I came up with 3. You're going to come up with 3, and I figured we'd share what our thoughts are, and we'll just talk about them. Do you want to go first, or should I?
That sounds good, but what's on your wrist?
Ooh, good question. Seiko SKX today. We just built, or we're building a little bit of a studio here, so banging around. So I put the cheapo on, but I love it.
We didn't even introduce the studio. This looks different, right?
It's not done yet. It's studio. It's a room with some tchotchkes on the wall.
It's in progress. It is a separate room, though.
It is a separate room. That is true. But what do you got on your wrist?
Actually, you're going to want to rip this off and keep it because these are just flying up in value and you can't find them. I actually have a Mark 40 on today. We just got this in. It's not posted, and I don't know if it's going to be. So if interested, let us know. But Fed might keep it.
That's the Ben Climber, right?
That's the Ben Climber. I hate to call it that, but everyone else does.
Well, dude, if I was 70 pounds lighter, I'd wear that watch. But as of right now, it doesn't fit my wrist, unfortunately. So yeah, watches from the 80s. Do you want to start, or should I?
I'll start because this is an interesting watch. You know the watch. Many of you out there have seen the watch, especially if you're into vintage and retro. It's usually known as a Porsche design watch. From the 80s. It was black PVD, most of them. Some of them were stainless steel, but a couple of other brands were also on the dial. It was kind of a contract watch.
Orfina,
Porsche design. I think IWC even had one very briefly.
Zinn had something similar, though I'm not sure it's from the same era. All the same watch, right?
Right, and it'll be in the picture, maybe a couple of them.
Yeah, I'll edit something in here. But, I mean, what's the deal with it? You think, who actually made those? I'm not sure.
It's tough to say. The rumor was, and there was some evidence that IWC was making some of them. But then Orfina was making some of them as well, but the dials were different. And being that they're from the 80s, a lot of these have had the dials swapped, and it's hard to know really who made it.
But it's the same cases, the same bracelets, and the same movements.
Everything's the same. Some of the dials are a little bit different, but it's just some of the markings. It's nothing major.
Actually, you know who wore it? You know why I love this watch?
Why?
Top Gun. Tom Cruise wore that watch in Top Gun. It is. I mean,
what's Top Gun?
Dude, don't mess with me. If you guys don't know, I'm a huge 80s lover. I'm all about the when John drives in my car with me, I'm always listening to 80s music, and you're not an 80s dude at all.
What can I say? It's before my time.
Before my time too, but a little appreciation, you know what I mean?
I understand.
Tom Cruise, Top Gun, he wore that watch.
This is the watch.
Dope. Well, next, I'm going to go with, I think the most iconic watch from the 80s.
What is it?
It is a two-tone 36mm Datejust on a Jubilee bracelet. Once again, I love, movie reference, Patrick Bateman, American Psycho. This was the watch to wear on Wall Street. It's a little douchey, but I love the douchey. It's a little yuppie.
You love the douchey.
It's a little yuppie. It's a little excessive. And for a long time after the 80s, that watch fell heavily out of style. But now they're coming back.
now they're more expensive than ever.
Yeah, it's true, huh?
We don't keep them in stock very long. They fly away.
No, we don't. That is true. Even though with these you have to be careful a little bit with the bracelets, make sure they're not like saggy. Bracelet needs a little Viagra to bring it back up.
A little bracelet sag. It's from the 80s,
Yeah, it is. But it's like the epitome of the 80s. It's excess. It's like it's not too expensive, but it looks expensive.
It's the original Flash.
It is the original Flash. In fact, if you guys ever get that famous reservation at Dorsia, you should probably wear that two-tone Datejust. It would fit in just fine. Guys, if you don't know what that is, go watch American Psycho, please. Have you seen American Psycho?
It's in my collection.
Dude, if that was a no, I would have fired you right now.
It's one of my favorites.
All right, man. So what do you got next?
Next is another kind of off the path watch. It's an Belle watch. Gross. Yeah, sure. An Belle, kind of gross, whatever. They're interesting watches, but this is kind of the original Belle, and basically it's an Belle El Primero. Mm-hmm. They just popped the Zenith El Primeros into this watch that you see here. They just dumped the movement into these things, and otherwise it would be kind of a disgusting watch and probably have no notoriety at all. No one would have ever purchased it, and now you can get an El Primero for nothing.
Yeah, but I wouldn't. I mean, I know you would.
I owned one of these for about a year, and I wore it so much.
And
honestly,
I made fun of you every day.
The bracelet was as smooth as butter.
Well, listen, it's the Belle wave, right? Like, Belle is a company that lived and died in the 80s. I mean, or like mid-90s. If they just never evolved, man, it aged so poorly. The design is so, it's 80s, but, not in a charming way. You know what? In my opinion, I don't know, guys. If you own one, I'm sorry for you. And sorry for the jump cut. We just got a phone, and when the phone rings, we kind of have to pick it up. After all, we are in business selling watches. But listen, it's a great mechanical watch. And, at the end of the day, you like it. You have a say of what gets to go on the website, too. It's just, to me, it's wrist cancer.
So anyway, I get it. You don't like the watch, but what watch do you like? What's your next watch?
Dude, this is a watch that I would wear any day of the week. It's a company I used to work for. And once again, one of my favorite movies, the two-tone Santos Galbe by Cartier, worn by Gordon Gekko in Wall Street. Wall Street 1, Wall Street 2 suck.
Dude, are you watching TMC all day?
Dude.
Where do you get 80s movies?
Listen, I have older brothers, I have older sisters. I kind of grew up with that stuff.
Makes sense.
But, dude, it's like the Rolex Datejust two-tone, but more refined because it's Cartier. At least back then, Cartier was like, yeah, it's a Rolex, but, Cartier was a whole other
It was
level.
Almost like a Patek at that time.
Yeah, exactly. And even though a lot of people don't give Cartier love nowadays, man, this watch, the original pilot's watch, the original Santos was the original pilot's watch.
Really?
1904. It was built, for Alberto Santos Dumont. He flew Zeppelins. Dude, I'm not 100% historically accurate. I remember during my Cartier training, but it was built for Alberto Santos Dumont, making it technically the first pilot's watch.
That's pretty interesting.
And the screw, and they were doing exposed screws. Is this before or after AP? I think it's after AP, actually. Dude, it's a good size for you. Would you not wear the Santos Galbe?
I would fly a plane with it on.
I don't know, man. It's also very Miami. The steel, the gold.
It's nice. It's a good watch for a good guy.
I don't even know what that means. What does that mean?
I'm working on proverbs on my channel.
You're working. I think you have to keep working on it. It's not working out.
I'm new to this.
Well, whatever. If you ever want to get implicated in trades and securities fraud, I think the Galbe is probably the right choice. Probably.
Yeah, or 5711.
What do you got next, man?
Next, actually, it's not a high quality watch, but it's a high cool watch.
God, those proverbs.
It's basically all of the Swatches. Swatches 80s, right?
Hell yeah, dude. Those are awesome.
Those plastic watches. It was really the first watch, at least the first watch that I know of, that was created to be thrown away when it breaks. You just throw them away and get another one. They're cheap. They're cool.
But they're highly collectible. Some of them are worth tens of thousands of dollars.
That's one of the reasons I like them so much. They had these these collaborations with popular artists like Keith Haring and many others that are just...
My godfather owns every single Keith Haring Swatch.
Every watch.
Every single Keith Haring Swatch and the Picasso. Like, he's got, like, $200,000 worth of Swatch.
Delray Swatch Shop.
Yeah, he wouldn't even let me breathe on them. Like, I don't think... He'd rather give... Like, if he had a 5711... Like, I'm sure he'd rather have me wear that for a week instead of, like, me touching his prized swatches.
But 80s, though, right? I mean, 80s kids.
Yeah, dude, super 80s, colorful, like, it just... It made watches cool. I mean, did you have one?
I had many of them, actually.
Yeah, I had a couple.
They were kind of like toys.
Yeah, I used to buy them in airports. I remember, like, when we go on family vacation, like, I'd always buy a Swatch in an airport.
Really?
It was just kind of a thing we did.
What kind did you have?
I had the one with, like, the New York skyline on it.
That's cool.
I still own the System 51, which is currently in the office. I had a couple of red ironies. I had the first Swatch Beat. It was called a Swatch Beat. It was a digital one. And when you pressed the light button and you held it down, there was a little cartoon of a dog taking a pee on a lamp.
That is so 80s.
Dude, well,
that is 80s.
Well, that was more 90s, but yeah, I mean, definitely 80s.
80s, 90s, it's all before my time.
Alright, fair enough. Swatches are good, but what did I have? Well, actually, I've got something more 80s than Swatch.
More 80s than Swatch?
More 80s than Swatch. Casio, like the technical ones, like the calculator watch.
The calculator.
The data bank. They had one with like a TV remote.
Those are 80s?
I'm pretty sure those are 80s.
Late 80s, maybe?
Dude, even mid 80s.
Mid 80s.
I mean, I think the calculator was like maybe even late 70s and like the rest. But everybody thought they were so damn cool. Like, I wanted one for the longest time until I realized I hate numbers in real life. Like, why the hell do I want a calculator on my wrist? But it still made... I still wanted one.
Those are cool. They're actually re-released a bunch of them. They have a solid gold one.
But, well, that's just the square. It's not the calculator, right?
I think they actually have a calculator. Dude, I could be mistaken, but I thought I saw it.
I gotta go look that up. We gotta go look that up. I mean, it's definitely a geeky watch, but everybody... I mean, it's a watch lover's watch. Even if you don't want to... I mean, like, everybody at one point has said, wow, that's cool. I mean, it might not be, like, the most, like, trendy watch, but it's definitely cool and it's definitely 80s.
Yeah, good watch for a hipster.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. So what's your third one?
Well, I went through 3.
Did you go through 3?
I did.
Orfina, Swatch,
and the
Belle. Did I go through 3?
You went through 3.
Oh, man.
Calculator watch.
Dude, this video's been interrupted by like 4 phone calls.
UPS, FedEx, Uber Eats.
Dude, yeah, Uber Eats. Fat jokes now? Is that what we're doing? Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please go subscribe to my boy John's channel. I'll leave a link in the description below. And we're going to be shooting a few new videos. We've got the new sets. We're working on the lighting. So if there's any technical difficulties, please bear with us. And, of course, delraywatch.com.
Or if there's any trinkets you want to see on this shelf, you know where to find us.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much, and we'll catch you in the next one. Take care.